Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming up here. This is Sagit here.
Hello.
She has curated the past 18 months. And it's usually only a year, but she's grabbed 18 months. And we usually have a miniature exhibition in the cell of the tower. It involves artists that have been doing residencies in the tower in the past year, but this year we've done it differently. Raymond here has interviewed all the artists over the past 18 months. Sagit has edited those interviews into a sound piece that lasts about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that right? And because there wasn't an exhibition, she invited Yonathan, who has done a residency here last year, and is it right to say you're primarily a writer? Yeah. And he put together a reading of a part of Ulysses in Johnny Joe's last year. So Sagit invited Yonathan to come back, put something together this year. So shall I hand over to you now and you can explain what you do? Oh no, I'll hand over to you. You say something.
Actually, I invited Yonathan because it was very successful last year, and it was I just felt that he was really involved with a group, with a Lurig theater group, and Yonathan invited Noam. Where's Noam? No. and they worked together for a while, and it was a challenge because they came only for 1 week, and it was like 1 week project for this final term of this residency time of me creating it. So I'm very grateful to be here because I didn't plan to be here tonight, and I really want to thank Zippy and Raymond and Bill, of course, and Tracy and Tiger and everyone who just made this happen. And it was a kind of group effort the last 18 months. So I'm really, really thankful and grateful for all of you and Yonathan.
I think you did say, but Noam's a composer.
Noam is a composer.
And he's composed some of the music to go.
I'd like to add great thanks to Mandy and David Abrams, helping this happening, and Christine and the choir and all the Lurig group. It's been great fun. And this piece is it's called Encounter with Silence. It's the third part of a 3-part radio drama by David Gascoyne, commissioned for the BBC in the 50s. And my initial idea was to have it at lay church, but I was advised not to bring it to the lay church because it might be too inconvenient. So we can all just temporarily imagine that we actually are in some ruined church in the countryside.
I think it's important you say that you found this in your dad's room, this play.
Yes, I have. That's right. No, I didn't. I found this play accidentally when I was thinking what to do after I received an invitation from Sagit, what to do this time, and I stumbled across this thin volume, and I think you'll like it. I hope.
Night thoughts, night music, now from buried labyrinths and caves of the town dweller's anxious dream, from claustrophobic corridors of nocturnal soliloquy, we move away until we can emerge into the open air, into the secluded countryside.
There we shall find again the calm night word of nature.
Nature, the earth, unconsciousness, and death. We are drawn down and back towards them in the night.
Nocturnal music, meditations in dark gardens, gradually forming thoughts pursued in gardens by such solitary strollers as may now find themselves outdoors, taking a turn or two before retiring, taking a breath or two of fresher air.
a predetermined object in the starlight at a slow pace, uncertainty, standing still from time to time as though to listen, yet not listening to any clearly determined sound.
The night music has drifted off into remote serenity, leaving here standing still to listen to the stillness of the garden, waiting to hear what may be born out of the stillness.
He stands still and seems to listen to some unknown distant thing, something that might be coming from where? What echo from beyond? What last horizon?
There is nothing to be heard. The garden is quite still. There is only silence in the darkness.
There is seldom experienced anywhere on the inhabited earth for more than a moment or two at a time such a thing as silence. For it is something we only imagine, silence, an idea we have of what complete absence of sound would be like. Real silence is the message spoken to us that we fear most of the time, fear most of all to hear. What we usually call silence is most often nothing more really than confused medley of the myriad of sounds to which it would be too tiring to pay conscious attention.
Everywhere about us, day and night, goes on the eddying stream of murmur, little drifting sighs and rumblings, whispering, coughing, whistles, moans, goes on rising from the earth, the home of life, birthless of restlessness, where all rhythms meet and cross and intertwine uninterruptedly.
Joins the streaming sounds of
hazard. Dream fuse, variations on fortuitous themes, intricate tracery, unwinding like designs drawn in trance across the taut sky of the universal ear.
The decrepit gust-blowing tinkling of a crumbling pagoda's bells.
Intensely complex tight-screwed up tattoo of tiny drums.
The velvet padded hammering of lifeblood's changing pulse.
The pulse of changing life is the deep underlying constant, and the unchanging also is a pulse, flowing through all that lives, a single pulse.
The changes and the pauses and occasional recurrence of abrupt irregularity make sound patterns we overhear but never really hear. Our hearing intercepts no more than one bar at a time. These patterns are upon a scale not measurable in hours. Attention wanders, thinking intervenes.
The boundaries of the senses are not often clearly realised. The infra and the ultra are fields easily forgotten. Out of hearing stays unthought of, out of sight is out of mind, and yet how haunted we all are.
The night walker on a terrace in the garden, unaccompanied, hardly aware of it, half hopes to overhear that haunting thing, something that hovers, maybe hovers only just beyond the rim, a thing he has not thought of yet, that no one ever heard.
The whispered
In the garden, the solitary stroller has at last come to the stairs. He leans over a parapet and gazes out ahead into the starlit, tranquil dark. He thinks of nothing. He lifts his head and he gazes and is blind. His heart beating strikes midnight. He breathes in the night's ancientness and freshness, slowly absorbing strength and courage for a coming time when he will have to be reborn.
I stand here staring into darkness and see nothing. Yet it is not nothing that stretches before me, away there forever, in whatever direction I turn my eyes. It is the universe. It is I myself that am nothing. Through my eyes, nothing gazes at reality, that utterly unqualifiable something. And slowly the question rises out of nothing's depths. Can I be real if I remain unseen? If I speak out of my innermost reality, shall I not be heard? Why should it be more extraordinary that I, who am nothing, may be nonetheless perceived, or that my speaking may be heard, than that nothingness should wonder, gaze, and listen? I stand here speaking of my nothingness, and yet I am a man. It is my heart that speaks, abasing itself in dread before that colossal inscrutability, overwhelmed by the total evidence that what is there must be. I cannot understand however I am able to address what faces me, and yet I know I somehow must respond. From out of that profound night blue abyss of starry vacancy comes the command, lift your heart. I raise my spellbound head and face to face with what I cannot name, I worship and adore. I lift my heart up and it speaks my prayer. Obeying be, oh, be what faces me, to whom my heart may speak. Almightiness, oh, be the face bent over me. Oh, be aware and hear. Acknowledge me, accept me, and may my response responded to help me slowly to realize how we are thus akin. Oh, be the one that I may never be alone in knowing that I am. Let my lost loneliness be illusory. Allow me a part in being that I may thus be part of one and all. I am a man of benighted century, famished for light and praying out of darkness in the dark. I do not really any longer know what praying means. To pray by rote, repeating time deconsecrated words, seems vanity to me. I cannot bear to hear myself repeating words of prayer that might be mumbled and not meant. Men of this time seem not to know that there is meaning, or that being is. All of us talk and talk of all and everything, and shut ourselves up at ourselves, and with the curtain of our words, shut out the fact that we are blind and dumb. We are afraid of silence, and afraid to look each other in the eye. Talking. We do not speak to one another. One who speaks of many others seldom fails to disparage them all indiscriminately. Many speeches are made to urge us all to secure peace through understanding. But I will speak no more of speaking. Man has become above all the most indefatigable mimic of all ways of being man that have ever been thought striking. Men imitate, and I am imitating them. I say man and men, and thus invest abstractions with all my own deficiencies, and think I somehow thus may be absolved of the whole failure to be truly man. I am a man. I cry out of my darkness. I could not cry if I were in complete despair.
In the gardens of the night, breathed on by newly freshened air, wrapped in the sheltering arms of shadows, cast by slowly growing things, the consolation of profound serenity is to be found. Here, in forgetting by degrees the crude immediacies of day, thoughts, trivialities, the well-worn props and tokens of habitual routine, it is possible to recall to mind and to draw near again to something vastly fundamental, self-effacingly withdrawn, that has been lying there and is there all the time. It is an ever new discovery to find it still awaiting our return, unsmiling, taciturn, yet limitlessly tolerant and all-comprehending, ready to take us back into obscurity, to share with us its poverty, to close and soothe our eyes.
The earth, nature, unconsciousness, and death. We are drawn down and back toward them in the night. But there is vigil, where the walker in the gardens stands and wanders in the dark.
Now, the man who spoke aloud just now out of his dark into the darkness, to no one, to someone. The mystery is not mine to solve. That each must face alone. The man who had said, I could not cry if I were in despair, turns presently towards the lighted windows he had left behind him earlier, and slowly makes his way back through the scented plants and dangling leaves of the dumbly sleeping garden, his wife and home, his books and bed.
And as he goes, begins to realise that something has changed in him. The open air, the space about him had first stirred his heart. He lifted up his heart and it had opened. And the wind that blows when it will and comes from nowhere that we know and passes on as unaccountably had inspired it with its own more vital, lighter, unrestricted and revivifying breath. Silence had delivered its essential message to him, and he had responded. Now he feels that he no longer has the need to reassure himself with words.
He goes back to his house. He returns to his wife and children. The children have long been asleep upstairs. His wife is sitting where he left her, under the reading lamp. She closes her book as he enters, looks up at her husband and smiles slowly at him, sleepily. He kisses her.
They are together. The primary division of the human family at night is that which sets those who are alone apart from those who are together. And yet all are alone, as the man realised earlier in the garden. And all those who are isolated in their solitude are really alone only because they do not actually realise the presence of other beings like themselves in in the world.
Greetings to the solitary. Friends, fellow beings, you are not strangers to us. We are closer to one another than we realize. Let us remember one another at night, even though we do not know each other's names.
Now, I know the choir, I've got to get off, so hopefully we haven't held you up too much.
Oh yeah, we're going to Yonathan, yeah.
Pardon?
We're going to Yonathan.
And for those of you who have not got another event, I hope you can all come back to the tower and we can manage to go and see some more left. Thank you.